Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Hope we're all doing well this morning. Nice to see some people in the chat already. Puckering Pickle Toe, greatest stream title. Yeah, we'll talk about Ake in a bit. If you are new to the world of FPL, you might not remember Leroy Fer and Christian Fuchs at Leicester, part of their title-winning squad. But yeah, for Fuchs' ache, definitely felt apt given what happened to the player that I sold in the week. But anyway, hope we're all good. I know there's a game week still in progress. Hopefully everyone is on a green arrow. I'm on a small red going into the final fixture of the week. The rematch, the Brighton versus United. Chance for redemption for my Brighton boys. Going to be interesting to see which way that goes tonight. So yeah, hopefully goals. I think I've got a defender from each side, but yeah, I'm hoping for some goals as well. Hi to Leisure, hi to Heather, hi to my best mate FPL team Peter. Hi to Eero, also sold Ake. Yeah, spoilers. That is exactly what happened. Dean McKinney, hi Az, went Bowen to Salah. Nice, good move. Amazed you had Bowen in the first place, but yeah, good. Finally getting on the Salah train. Just see. Hits 200 points for the, 6th consecutive season. Best FPL player of all time. Let me know in the comments or in the chat. I think he has probably got that crown now. It'll be interesting to know if Haaland can keep this consistency or whether he's going to move over to Real Madrid and ruin it for us. But Salah, I think, is the king of FPL and of Egypt as well. Let's recap what's happening in 34. So I'm going into the final game of the season. The season? Oh, God, I wish. Final game of the week on 91 points. So it's 95 with the -4 that I took. I've got De Gea in goal with 6. And Brighton to come. Trent with 11. He was the transfer in for Ake, who outscored him in one game that he wasn't even supposed to start in. Incredibly frustrating. FPL can be a cruel game. At times, I bought in Ake about a month ago on the wild card for this week in mind. I thought I might get a couple of starts for him, but I wanted the City defender for the double. He looked like the best one. He got 1 point, and then he got benched, and then I free hitted, and then he came back for the second game of the double and got double digits. So really, really frustrating. It's funny how FPL works like that. Pep had basically ruled him out, said that he was kind of close but hadn't been training. Didn't think anyone expected him to start last night, but there he was in the lineup. And what happens in situations like that, the player not only starts and gets the clean sheet, but also scores the goal as well. So yeah, annoying that one, but it's just one of those things. I've got Trent in place. I'm very happy with him. His role now, he looks like a must-have to me between now and the end of the season. So good to have him in place. Trippier with 2. That was a frustrating one. Southampton at home. He was my only non-doubling player. I thought they'd get a clean sheet in that game. I thought that Trippier would do well. His underlying stats have still been good, but lack of clean sheets for them. Another game, a blank for him. I could have had Ake in that place. Stop thinking about it. It's not worth it. Dunk is there with 6. Do wish I had gone for a Stepinian now, but Lewis Dunk is there with a 6. A Stepinian with the assist. Luckily, there were so many other goals in that game that he didn't really get close to the bonus. But yeah, Dunk with his ever reliable 6 and the risk of an own goal every opportunity normally when he plays. Salah. My Vice 18 actually ended up outscoring Haaland. So anyone that was brave enough to put the armband on him over Haaland, fair play. It was a risky move. It was a good 2 home games. There was nothing stupid about it. So it might only be a couple of points, but you can to take credit in the fact that you went against the 201% effective ownership Haaland. So yeah, fair play if you went for him. Rashford was 6. Grealish was 7. Yeah, a bit disappointing. Given that he got 2 starts. And I think in the first game he had quite a few shots and opportunities. Got the 1 assist, wanted a bit more from him. I've still got this bet with someone that he's going to hit 20 goal involvements between the end of the season. I made that at the start of the season, and he was absolutely nowhere near going into the restart, and it's been a really, really strong showing for him since. So 5 games to go, 5 attacking returns he needs. Oh, I don't know. It's going to be close. So yeah, we'll see how that one goes. Mitoma and March, we've won a piece in an absolute thumping of Wolves 6-0, hoping for some returns for them tonight. And then Haaland and Jota with his poor bad back. My dog's got a bad back, and I sympathise with him. I sympathise less with Jota. I wish he'd just got on the pitch a bit more. But could have been sent off. I think he was a bit lucky. Got 5. I was between him and Isak. It's only 2 points between them. I've now got a user transfer for Isak. Kind of wish I had him in place. But it's it's that risk you take in a double game week, especially with all the attacking options that Liverpool have got. So I'm now debating whether Jota's got one more week in my team or whether just to move him early for Isak, because I think Grealish probably gets benched at the weekend. We might get some team news. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. I'd be surprised if Grealish started again, given that he's played 2 in the week. He's very rarely rested. They've got the Champions League game coming up. So he's probably going to be on my bench. He hasn't exactly been scoring, regular double-digit hauls. So I'm probably going to bench him, and that means kind of an extra spot in my side. So it could be Jota to Isak on the cards. We'll see about that. We'll also talk about the watch list in a second. Let's have a look at the chat. Chris Pope, Ake was second on the bench. Yeah, field FPL. I have Ake third on the bench. Do you know what? If I'd done the move I was thinking was doing Porro to Trent, and then I took Kane out for Jota, but I would have gone for Isak. If I'd done that, I still would have played Trippier. I don't think I would. I don't think there's any scenario in which I would actually have played Ake, because he'd been pretty much ruled out. He was told that he hadn't been training. The chances were that he was on the bench for one of the games and came on. I didn't think he'd get a start in either match. And so you're looking at then, a potential start for Ake, like a rare start for Ake, or a sub cameo, or Trippier at home to Southampton. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't see any way in which I would have played Ake, even if I'd kept him. So, if you kept Ake and played him, fair enough. Well done. I think that wasn't exactly the right play without the benefit of hindsight, but yeah, you've got richly rewarded. And it's big margins. I mean, Trippier with 2, Ake with 13? That's a big swing. So, yeah, it is frustrating, but all you can do is look back on decision making, like we do in Black Box, and try and work out whether it was kind of the right decision at the time. And I think it probably was. So I'm not going to beat myself up over it. And I've still got that City defender spot now. And it's just, what do I do with that kind of going forward? So coming on to the watch list, it's had a bit of a refresh here. In defence, it's the 2 City players that I'm looking at, Diaz and Stones, both with a really poor non-penalty XG per 90 of 0.08. There probably is one of those 2, I think, are the ones to go for. Ake could be a shout. It's just he's had injuries throughout the season. It's recurred. Is he going to be reliable for us kind of over consecutive games? Stones has had his injuries, but is now starting to start regular matches and complete, almost full matches or almost full matches. And Diaz is just starting every game. So I like Diaz at 6. I think he's probably the one to go for. I mean, we need to talk about Ederson. I'm so sorry for anyone who went for Ederson this week, on free hits, or whether you bought him in, because not only does he not start that game, they get a clean sheet as well for the first time in ages, and now there's that kind of risk of Ortega, taking that spot in the league. I mean, Ederson hasn't had a particularly great season. He doesn't make that many saves, seems to get beaten quite a lot, but his distribution and the way he kind of builds play up for the back is one of the reasons why he's one of the best keepers in the world and fits so well into that City system. So it's going to be interesting to know what Pep does with that. I imagine Ederson comes straight back in for that Real Madrid match. If he plays well in that, then he probably keeps his place. But there is that risk now of Ortega coming in. So interesting to see what happens with that. And yeah, a bit nervous for people who have gone for, the expensive Ederson and then probably have like an Everson on the bench who is playing for Leicester and aren't exactly keeping a lot of shutouts. So yeah, annoying for anyone who went with that. Elsewhere, Trent is top. Non-penalty XG per 90 of 0.35. Doesn't look that impressive. It is a lot better since this switch to midfield. It's almost double actually. So I'm just going to keep drumming it in on these streams. I think if you're looking at one player to bring in, I think he needs to be really, really high up on the list. It's Brentford this week at home, but then it's two really good games in 37 and 38. It's Aston Villa. Sorry, in 36 they got Leicester, which looks really good. 37 it's Villa. Okay, not the easiest, but then 38 it's Southampton away. You're going to want him in place for that. So could probably get away with it this week. Hold that transfer. I know there's doubles coming up, but I do think we should all be moving towards Trent if we haven't got him. Trippier is on the list. He's still, really high for the non-penny XG up in 90, 0.37, just ahead of Trent there. Can we move him? Can we move him on after the double next week? I think potentially we can, especially if we're looking for Diaz or Stones in that 37 week. But obviously we want to be keeping him, kind of going forward for a bit. Shares there as well, cheaper, 5.1 million. Quite a few less points than Trippier. Hasn't got the kind of the creative appeal that he has. But got a couple of assists again the other week. He's probably my preferred double up if you're going double up in defence. Moreno is there, 0.21, and then a big drop off to my mate Dunk, 0.09. I mean, Estepinian could be on the watch list, but realistically, I'm not going to be making a sideways transfer of Dunk to Estepinian at this point. I'll just be pretty hoping for a benching for the Peruvian man at some point between now and the end of the season, which is why I went for Dunk in the first place. But we'll see what happens with that. In midfield, De Bruyne, another one who probably frustrated quite a few people this week. Obviously had a really, really good game against Arsenal. Lots of investment in him, really good stats. And then, doesn't play either match in double game week. So if you did have him, hopefully you had a decent bench option. I imagine there's a few Watkinses coming off the bench, which is a shame. I don't think he's going to be a massive option for us between now and the end of the season. Unfortunately, given the fact that they've got Real Madrid in there, obviously trying to protect him a little bit from knocks. So probably not someone that I'd be looking for when you've got Salah, you've got Haaland, and you've got Kane or Fernandes, or a couple of premium options to pick. Martinelli is there, 0.6, having a strong season. Got his first benching against Chelsea in a while. Don't think that's going to continue. Don't think Trossard did enough in that game to keep him out. I think it's going to be full strength for Arsenal against Newcastle. His goals in that game, would I be keeping my Arsenal mids? Probably not. I think, the spots are so crucial in that midfield spot, and we've got the doubles coming up next week and in 37. So this is a good chance, I think, now to potentially think of moving out those Arsenal mids if you still got them. If you've still got Arsenal defenders, definitely consider getting rid of those. Injuries to Gabriel, Kiwior and Holding are now in. I think Newcastle, it's about the worst game Arsenal could have going into this game against Newcastle. So I think Arsenal players are still a sale for me, and potentially looking to bring them back for that final game in 38. Fernandes has entered the watch list. I don't think he's going to be someone that I move for. He does have 97 points since the restart, which isn't a bad return. It's ahead of Matoma, for example. It's ahead of Grealish. He's starting to pick up a little bit now. He's frustrated for quite a while, but it could be now that we start seeing these points come in, and fair play if you've kept faith with him. And there's going to be a lot of people watching that match tonight, either worried about him or hopeful that he's going to get some returns against Brighton. So they've got another double up. It's going to be an easy hold for people who have got him. Am I going to move for him again? Probably not. I think my five midfielders are on the screen in the green: Rashford, Salah, March, Grealish, Matoma. I don't think that's going to change between now and 37. So that means no room for Fernandes. Grealish is that spot which it's nice having that City midfielder, but it is a bit frustrating watching him kind of not really pick up that many regular returns. So it could be moving him out, but it seems a bit much when he's got the double as well. So he'll probably stay. Now, big name into the watch list. A player that I never thought would enter my watch list on these streams. It's only Joe Linton. Look at him on the bottom. Non-penny extra up 90, 0.37. But we can pretty much double that over the last few games. What's his role in the team going to be? Is he going to drop into midfield? Does Almiron come back in? What happens when St Maximan's back? There are question marks around. But we can't deny that in the last few games, he has looked very, very good from an attacking sense. Everyone's moving towards Wilson and Isak and Trippier, or looking for this double. We are still ignoring those Newcastle mids. Jacob Murphy. I had to triple check this last night on Black Box. 4.1 million. I mean, if we needed that money, that would be great. If you need the money to go for a Fernandes or someone, what a bargain he is at 4.1. I think only Barry Ferguson was cheaper when he started the game at 4 million. So I like Murphy. Ignore the price. I think he's a decent shout. You know, we only need him for this double game week. There's not many game weeks to come. I wouldn't say he was a great long-term hold, but we're running out of fixtures now. I don't mind Willock as well. And Joe Linton. He's the one that I would probably go for, which sounds absolutely crazy. But although I don't want to break up this midfield, I could move one of March or Matoma out for Welbeck and then free up that midfielder spot and stick Joe Linton in. There you go. How's that for a punt towards the end of the season? I've got 50k places to make up to get into the top 100k. Desperate times call for desperate measures. The other option, of course, is to do what a lot of people are considering, which is this double up with Isak and Wilson. Wilson is top of forwards. I believe he's top of all players, actually, since the restart for this non-point extra up in 90. He's basically expected to get a goal or an assist every 90 minutes, which is crazy. It's a reduced sample. He starts off the bench. He comes on when Newcastle are winning. He plays less minutes and has good underlying numbers playing up front. But that is a powerful kind of tactic, given that Newcastle are blowing away teams at the moment and they're wearing teams down, looking for Wilson to come off the bench. So it does seem weird going for a Wilson and Isak double up when they're kind of competing for the same spot. It's never been something that's really worked before. But again, we're only really targeting that double game week where we could see a start for each. And then you've got them kind of in place, for that. So I don't mind that. I don't mind, going for one mid. And probably Isak would still be my favourite. I think he's the more reliable starter in that team. Or you go for the double defence and Isak as well. I don't think we can really be without Isak for that double game. I think he's the best captain option that we're going to have. So he will almost certainly come into my team, whether it's this week or next week. And then it's just what do I do with that third Newcastle spot. But we will talk about that a bit more next week going into the Newcastle game. Just to mention a couple of other players. I mean, Welbeck is here. 0.93. It's a very, very low sample size. He was injured for a bit. He's only had a couple of starts. But he is someone to take note of. We do have a lot of forwards. We've got Insizo there. We've got Ferguson coming back. We've got Welbeck. Undav has scored 2 great goals. There is that risk of rotation, but Welbeck is playing out of his skin at the moment. So again, short-term punt, next 2 weeks, I like Welbeck as an option. And if I had that third Brighton spot free, he would probably be the one that I'd be moving towards this week, given they've got Everton at home and a really, really tasty fixture. So, yep, I like him. I like Welbeck a lot. I think someone asked that in the chat as well. VL, is it worth going with Welbeck? Yes, I think it is. Any of the Brighton players at the moment are ones to go for. Absolutely fantastic to see. My team then, heading into game week 35. Not many fixtures left. It's De Gea in goal with Trent, Dunk and Moreno, who I'm a bit worried is going to lose his place to Dean. I've had this worry for a few weeks. Dean is out of favour, but Moreno's played a lot of games. Villa have struggled a little bit on the last few. It's a like-for-like switch. It could be that we see Dean play, again. I just want Moreno for this one. I don't think I'm going to play him again between now and the end of the season, but I really, really want him for this game. So hopefully he plays this game and then Emery can do what he wants. It's Salah, Rashford, March and Matoma. Grealish on the bench, which I don't feel too great about, but I think he is very, very likely to be benched. And then it's Haaland captain, Jota and Watkins. The team news is going to be really interesting. If say Haaland and Grealish do miss out, what do we do with those players? Well, I think Grealish is an easy bench. The captaincy surely has to move off of Haaland. Who does it go to? It's tricky to know. It probably goes to Salah, but Brentford aren't pushovers. Could go to Rashford. Maybe they're going to be focusing on the Conference League, West Ham. Or does it go to one of the Brighton mids? So I think that could really open up the captaincy option quite a lot if we do get news that Haaland is going to be rested. But from what we've seen so far, given that it's Leeds, I think it's more likely Haaland gets 60 and we will keep the captaincy on him. So not worried too much about that. Transfer-wise, I think Jota probably starts this one unless the back is causing him even more, a hat-trick of back problems for Jota. I don't love the match. I know it's another home game and they've been doing really well at Anfield. But I don't love this fixture against Brentford for them. I do think if Arsenal have got some injury, if both their main centre-backs are out, I think I'll probably bring in Isak early and go for him over Jota, just to avoid that kind of rotation risk going forward. So this will probably be how the team sets up. If we do get team news and Grealish starts, then I've got a decision to make. Does he come in for March or Matoma? But like Luke pointed out last night, Everton have been playing with a high line. They've been playing, quite attacking football, and they've been pressing as well. All of these things massively suit the way Brighton play football, particularly those wingers as well. So I can't see Dyche setting up his team to play in the way that he's been playing in the last few weeks. They were so open against Leicester, and they kept getting caught out. And we're the kings of that. We'll invite the press, we'll find the space, and we'll pick them off. So, if Everton don't set up with a strong, back four or back five, put players in the box, which we struggle to break down teams to do that, I think we could end up beating them, comfortably 4 or 5-0 again, especially if some of our players have had a rest. So one to look out for, and we want to get those Brighton players right. And again, it's why I really like the look of Welbeck, because he could be one that massively benefits from that. So yeah, I like the idea of Brighton this week. I've just seen Ali Ezzat in the chat. Ooh, controversial figure on Twitter at the moment. If you don't know all about that, then check out FPL Harry and see what's going there. Didn't actually know you were a real person, Ali. But there you go. Let's take some questions from the chat. Do drop me in any dilemmas that you might have going into game week 35, and I will do my best to answer them. Ram, is Flapjack a Man City fan? No, he's a Reading fan, isn't he? I think he was complaining about them, getting relegated or something the other day. Howley86, Newcastle mids are a rotation risk. They are indeed. Could say the same about, Brighton mids at the moment. It's just a case of getting one and just hoping that they can hit a big score in the double. There's lots of rotation. There's lots of teams with, Man City with Europe adds rotation, West Ham and players. And, we're getting to the business end of the season where, teams that are safe might choose to rest players. There's going to be rotation kind of everywhere. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. If you like the look of one of the Newcastle mids, a Murphy, a Joe Linton or a Willock, and you've got space for one of them, then I don't think they're a bad miss. Someone just said Wilson and Isak is giving them Dennis and Josh King vibes. Where was that? I just saw that. I can't see it now. But yeah, I know that the doubling up with strikers never bloody works, ever. So it'll be interesting to know whether it does in this double. I mean, it would have worked well if you've gone for it in the last few weeks, but I don't think anyone was really seriously considering that. Magic69, get Dean. What can go wrong? God, I'm not saying get Dean. I'm saying, get Moreno, but there's a risk that Dean could come in. And that would be typical of him, the troll that he is, even kind of off the bench. He can affect Moreno's minutes, as he loves to do. And if he, oh God, don't bloody buy Dean. He is the absolute worst. Athava says, can Foden prove to be a mega differential? Yeah, I mean, Mahrez has been playing well. He was quite quiet last night. It's just, where does Foden kind of come into that team? Grealish is obviously locking down that left-hand spot. I don't mind it. I think I'd still go for Haaland, Grealish and a defender as well. But we're talking about mega differentials, so let's go for Foden as well. It's just really hard to find a spot for him in that team. I guess you go for him over Grealish if you're going to do it. So yeah, don't hate it, but don't love it. I mean, relying on cameos, relying on sub appearances, not really knowing if he's going to start or not. I mean, I'm talking up the Newcastle mids, and there's rotation with them. So yeah, I'm going to say why not. But he's playing very well when he comes on. I think he definitely gets a couple of starts with now end of this season. My mate Peter, who's your favourite ever Brighton player? Zamora, easiest choice ever. Love that man so much. Bruno was also great, but he's a bit of a traitor. I don't know where he is now. I don't think he's still at Chelsea. But yeah, Bobby Zamora, 100%. Dwayne B.O. Sorry, let's call you Dwayne Bow. I think Dwayne B.O. is a bit insulting. Bench McAllister, Mings or Jota? I don't think you can bench McAllister, given it's Everton at home. I think Jota probably starts. Yeah, you probably go for Mings, probably go for the defender. Tends to be where I go. If you're debating, 3 different spots, defence, mid and forwards, I'll probably go for the defender to go for. Eero Kane seems like a good differential. Yep, absolutely. Would you captain if Haaland is bench? Yeah, good captain shout. You want that reliability, don't you? Palace at home, not easy. But yeah, he's probably on par with Salah. I think I'd still go for Salah if I could. And the final question I'll take is from Addison Chang. Still worth keeping Chilwell for Chelsea's double game week. I think you have to. It's Bournemouth this week. They've got a double coming up. They've been absolutely awful, but he could have had a goal against Arsenal. He still is looking good on the attacking stats. I think you have to keep him for the double, even though it's not a good double at all. But yeah, I would be keeping him if I had him. But I'm not as worried about not owning him as I thought I'd be. I thought my dog was next to me, but no, he's asleep on his bed. Excellent stuff. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday morning. I said Monday morning last week. It's definitely Thursday. Not long until the next game week. We get a bit of a line because the deadline isn't until, 1:30. So good luck tonight for anyone with players. Good luck on Saturday as well. And I will see you all again next week.